Recording. It was cut off. This is the second portion, so we'll have to put them together. There you go.
That's okay. You know, people can come to the meeting if they're that interested.
They'll be written minutes anyway. So.
Oh, is there?
So,
Can we see everything? What's that? Dang, it's hard to do it from the same side. There you go.
Just try to get it closer.
It was
so I
fine
can
where it was. I don't need to be on your camera.
Try to get her.
so when the compensation rate was 21 to 25 an hour, and not knowing that we would get someone like Barbara to apply, my thoughts are, in order for the district to get the help that we need with the qualifications and the experience, who will bring a dimension that the office has not had in the past, then she deserves $24 an hour, especially considering she has a bachelor's degree in accounting and management. That's worth more than 24, but that was our pay range, so I think we need to consider that. And it is on a temporary contract. What do we need to do for her to be able to get that signed? I think you have one made.
Yeah, one's ready to go. So whenever you're ready to bring her on.
And also with adding her on, it's still within the budget we already discussed.
Absolutely.
By a lot. It's like not even close to it.
Yeah,
So.
and you already posted on Indeed. So yeah, I think whenever you're ready to.
And we actually have one more position we can fill at like 15 hours a week, probably at a lesser rate. But if we are going to get qualified, competent people, we have to pay them we have to compensate them in a manner that says they're competent and qualified. And this is really a new endeavor for this district. We have never had employees.
Plus we want Alicia to do her job instead of someone else's job, right?
I have a job.
You have multiple.
It has been,
That poor woman, she hasn't even got to do it yet.
we have been switching back and it has just been,
And we all appreciate your efforts. Cause
we do.
Somebody today told me, they said, well, I sent you an email about a week or so ago, and I said, what, at that desk over there haven't seen for 2 weeks? I'm so sorry, I haven't been able to get over there yet.
I keep
I said
telling
it
her there's a
jokingly,
light at
but-
the end of the tunnel that we have a new person coming on. So would the board like to have a discussion about the increased compensation from 22 to 24? Have any questions for Barbara?
Do you have any questions?
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to bring Barbara on at 24 an hour versus at 22 an hour.
I like it. And it's a temporary thing anyways, right?
It
If we
is
like
to
it,
begin
yeah.
with, and
Yeah.
then we'll see what happens. You never know.
And how long is the temporary for? You
I think
said
it's
you ordered up, right?
up to
Yeah, it's 90 days.
90 days.
Official, but,
Okay.
yeah, so we're gonna hire today. Is that right?
correct.
Okay.
And then,
Does that start her tomorrow coming into the office? I'm
no,
asking.
not until
She's
Tuesday.
coming
'cause
after the meeting.
Monday's off.
Get in there.
Unfortunately, I have a doctor's appointment and another appointment this week, but,
Okay.
No,
that's
it would be Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday,
Holiday.
right?
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yes, Monday's Labor Day. Yeah, so on the agenda we have increasing the starting hourly rate. So ideally we'd have more detail than that for an approval to hire. So you can proceed, but you proceed at risk that was not exactly specific.
Okay. We'll take care of it at the next meeting, because on the temporary contract, I thought the board already voted to bring somebody in on a temporary basis,
That's what
which
I
is
thought.
why,
Yeah,
so
we did.
we're not really backpedaling on anything here. This is all legit. The only thing we're doing is increasing the pay from 22 to 24.
Yes.
So, Shawn, you made the motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And you don't have to sit through any more of this. I told
Okay.
you just to.
I will see you Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock, is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect. And
Okay.
thank you so much for coming down. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
It
it.
was nice to meet all of you.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
And Madam Chair, if you'd like to entertain another motion just for your authorization to go ahead and execute the contract, I think that would be advisable.
Perfect. So I'd like to entertain a motion to execute, the temporary utility clerk contract.
Okay, I can make the motion, or you make the motion?
You,
I'll make the motion for that.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. This is so exciting to have, two really qualified, competent people in the office. And it's a good day.
Here's my bottle of wine. Celebrate.
So I think we can go into executive session at the end to talk about the
However
lead,
you'd like to do it, yeah.
so we can go through. So this is the big one, under 6B, discussion and possible action regarding tentative approval of the proposed Blount Canyon City Water Improvement District budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. And this could be a pretty lengthy discussion. Did everyone get a copy of the proposed budget? There were 2 copies, one with, and what, did you, Melina?
Yeah, I got it somewhere.
Do you want this? I made copies.
Well, if you've got one handy, I'll take it.
There you go.
Oh, it's right here. Do you wanna see them, Carol?
Sure.
Then you have to come, oh, he's gonna be kind and take it. I was gonna make you walk up and get it
Thank you.
yourself.
I can do that.
Do you have
What
it?
kind of gentleman would I be?
You are. Do you wanna see it?
Yeah, I would like to, thank you.
So we got these from our CPA, and if you look at the budget, it's marked without a rate increase. And you can see that we're $268,745 in the red. Which is not a good place to be. That's a lot of red. And I'm not sure what the 12 months annualized is.
That's a projection out.
Okay.
So, as if it's a full year, right?
So, obviously, and I do want to read a comment that RCAC made in their rate assessment. And this RCAC rate assessment is on the website under financial reports, and you can access it there. But on page 2, current financial condition, the district's total reserve type balances increased between fiscal years 22 and 24. However, unrestricted operating liquidity declined during the same period. Capital reserves and the arsenic sinking fund have grown, reflecting preparation for future infrastructure investments. However, at the same time, operating costs continue to increase due to inflation, system maintenance needs, regulatory compliance requirements, and without phased rate adjustments, operating flexibility will continue to tighten. And that has happened. The district, the cost of maintaining the district has gone up here, and the rate increases are still here. So we've been digging a hole for a very long time because our rates do not allow us to generate the revenue that we need just to maintain the district. And we are going to have a district walk with some owner users, so people can go out, 3 or 4 people can go out and actually see firsthand what the condition of the district. And I think people will be surprised to see just how much work is needed, the degree of neglect that has been going on, and the length of time it has been neglected. When you have a motor that you need to turn on and off to get water moved from point A to point B, and you have to take a rock and hit it to get it to work, and the other motor to back that up doesn't even work. That's just one very small example of the other significant issues that are out there. And so we've had to use capital improvement funds to pay for line repairs, leak repairs, and other things, just because there's not been enough money in the general fund. And this month alone, we had 3 leaks, and we had to have a contractor come out and to repair all 3. And then scenario 2 is arsenic treatment capital improvements. So that if you go to page 3, it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different scenarios, if you will. The baseline with no capital improvement, I believe, no CIPs, and then retrofit. You can read those, and then it to the right it has the residential fixed monthly and commercial fixed monthly. So the rates are different for commercial and residential. I was thinking, when I was looking at this, I thought that, let's go to page 13. I was looking at 2C on page 13. Retrofit 4.5 mil, 50% grant, 50% debt, and that would bring the base rate up to $51.38. But would you like to? I have copies of your.
You do?
Yes, I
do.
do.
Yeah, sure, I can go over it. Otherwise, I'll pull it up on the email.
Nope, I have it. Let me just find it. So,
I glitched on it.
Shawn, I put it in the notebook, I'm sure.
Well, my last one, because I have it kind of in my brain.
Here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
So Shawn had a different recommendation that don't touch the top. You have mice.
I don't have it. Let's see what we're getting. All right, so you know, I thought that the 51 was kind of a steep right off the bat, kind of aggressive scenario. But I was like, I think it'd be a little easier and a little bit more easy to digest if we did it on a step basis. So before we got into the next thing I'm sure you'll talk about later, I said, well, what if we bring it down to a 44 base and then a 750 capital, and then it's not as a steep increase, and people can actually deal with that increase of $14.50 per person instead of doing a 22, because that's quite a bit difference. You're increasing by 60% off of what it used to be. So I thought, hey, 1 year like that, maybe then a 2 year or 1 or 2 years, maybe we can increase to what we were talking about. But let's take it for the 44 for now and see how that feels, and let everybody get adjusted to that first. And then we talked about, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but we're talking about the insurance piece of it.
Let's wait.
Okay, cool.
So that's only $12 a month more on the base rate. So we would have to raise rates again next year, because the district has not raised rates in so long that we have a lot of catching up to do. But we can't do it all at once, because that would be difficult for a lot of the owner users. So we would have a raise next year. However, what we also need to look at are the other areas, and they may seem like small, insignificant areas, but they are not. They have the potential to generate additional revenue, but we're not doing it correctly.
Right.
When we printed a list of all of our overdue bills, we have over $15,000 in overdue bills out there. And when I was looking to see find the notices that were sent out, and this is not a result of any billing that happened in December. This was ongoing before that. When I looked to see for the late notices that had been sent out, I couldn't find any. So late notices are supposed to be sent out after the billing goes out, and this has not been happening. So we have
Expect billing.
and that is something that we need to address right away. We cannot have $15,000 in overdue bills out there. And the other thing is, I want to pass out the ordinance, which goes over what we charge for and if you look, there's a couple of pages behind that as well, and it's an example of how other districts charge additional monies based on the size of the meter size. So you can see that a 5/8 inch is, this is for pine strawberry, $62. A 1 inch is $81.18. So their residential base fees are determined in part by the meter size. And what I found was that a lot of districts do the same thing. Most of the districts, this is how they base their, this is what they use to gauge their base fees for commercial and residential as well. And we need to consider this because the larger the meter, the more water, right? That would be capable of using. So then we have seen, when we look at meters that have been pulled, the district's policy, which I have a copy of as well. When a meter is pulled for non-payment, the policy is, here we go. The policy is that the district can charge $3,500 to reinstall that meter. I'm not sure that's the best approach to take.
We got this in an email, right? I thought we got this in an email.
Future restoration of service to the property where the meter has been removed for non-payment, this is on page 9 of 11, would then be treated as a new connection requiring both the new meter and impact fees as stated in the ordinance, which is $3,500. Now, I think I sent all of you an email that suggested that instead of charging a $3,500 fee after the meter's been pulled, that anytime water service has been shut off, we're only charging $100 to turn the water back on. That's not with the meter removed, but that's when the water has been shut off for non-payment. We only charge $100 to turn it back on. And we have we have a lot of accounts that are constantly behind. And $100 reinstatement fee is inadequate. $100 deposit on those accounts is inadequate because they're going to run the bill up again to $500 or $1,000, and we don't have enough of a deposit to cover that loss. So I think we need to consider requiring 1.5 to 2 times the amount of the 6-month average on a bill as a deposit. So if they don't pay again for a period of time, we are at less risk of losing all of that revenue because we will at least have enough of a deposit to cover that loss. Yes?
Sounds reasonable.
So how much do you think, I mean, what are you noticing on all of these late accounts where we just,
It's all over the board. We have a couple of, commercial accounts that don't wanna pay because they don't think they owe that kind of money, but the numbers are there, so I don't even know how to answer that one. Then you have people who don't wanna pay until they get a new meter, cause they don't believe the meter. I mean, it's everywhere, it's all over the place, and instead of just, I mean, people don't get money for free, and it seems like people want their water for free. And, sorry, their water, but, it's all over the place, there's not like I could probably create a spreadsheet and have 20 lines of the reason why people don't pay their bill.
We had a customer come in complaining that they were billed for 3,000 gallons of water, which was like 1,000 gallons more than what they usually use. Then we have another one where you can go back and look for months. They had 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then all of a sudden they get a bill and they think, well, this is too high. They don't look at the fact that they had 0 usage, which is not correct, and then the reading caught up. What about a trailer park that we won't mention any names, but how much were the bills on average? You said for a year they were
$151 a month average
for a year.
Multiple spots in a trailer park, and again, that's $3,500 per average in Arizona for water per person. So if you only had one person in there, you still would be a lot more than $150
Some
a month.
it just, and we're talking like 25, and I drove through the park to see, there was only one empty space. All the others were full. Cars. So
I think it's just people have gotten accustomed to the fact that their water's been very inexpensive. And unfortunately, the district has paid the price with their equipment falling apart.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and our guidance is just adopt a policy and apply it uniformly. And so I think just to orient kind of procedurally where we're at, we're talking about rate increases as it relates to the budget. Today we're gonna tentatively approve the budget, but you're actually gonna have a public hearing the same day you have your public hearing on the budget to actually adopt these rates and fees. So
I think we need to discuss them.
100% agree.
So this is an appropriate time to discuss all of these other.
Yes, because again, it's related enough closely as we can to the budget. You know, we're talking about the budget here.
Well, we have to look at ways of increasing the revenue that are there and available that we have not been using, or that have not been adequate to protect the district's revenue.
Sure.
And it's now. It just doesn't make sense when you look at all of this and compare other districts, what they're doing.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I just want to make sure procedurally we're understanding where we're at in this process. And again, today's tentative approval of the budget, then we'll actually have a formal hearing, just like we're going to do a budget. We're going to publish, post, etc. for the rates and fees, adopt that, move to the budget, finally approve the budget, then go to that special meeting. And that's how.
But at least now we'll have an idea of the other things that we can increase and add to that budget that we didn't have before.
Because again, your tentative approval of the budget will be subject to these modifications, whatever they are that you're discussing today.
Okay.
Because that's gonna, I assume, the budget's gonna change, right?
Yes.
So it's gonna, again, the motion when we get there down the line a little bit will be to tentatively approve the budget, subject to the modifications discussed here today. And
Okay.
so that'll need to be conveyed, of course, to Natalie.
You guys can keep talking. I need to take a 5-minute break, or.
So we'll recess the meeting just because we lost our quorum.
Okay. Take it an official recess. You want me to hit the thing?
Up to you. You can keep it
We'll
running.
keep it
or-
rolling just so it's easier.
Yeah. Otherwise, you gotta stitch together a few
Yeah,
videos.
that's not fun. We're gonna have to do that already, so. I couldn't believe it was today. I was like, oh my god.
Okay.
We just talked last night.
You made it here fast, real fast.
I do not like being late. I was like, dang.
I'm glad you're here.
She hit it on the head though. I was like, pulling over my fingers, threw my hat on, and zipped out the door.
Over the
Still confused. A little confused. Okay, perfect.
I just came back from working out too, I'm glad it wasn't during hot sauce.
Then we have sweatpants. There's no dress code for this one.
Yeah, I was in
Tuesdays
shorts
I
and
just
tank
wear
top.
jeans, that's all I got to say.
No casual Fridays?
You know, I get it occasionally, but I'll make sure I have a really dressy top, but,
Even we have casual Friday.
you know,
All our practice
if I had
wears
casual
jeans.
Friday right now, I'd probably have margaritas and music going on. We're not doing bills today.
Forget what I said, no more
Yeah.
casual Fridays.
That does help.
No, I really don't think that much, I just do it occasionally.
Oh, yeah,
like,
oh, yeah, I mean, it can't hurt,
I'm
that's
just-
what I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, cause I've read
No
about it
casual
a little bit.
Fridays.
We've got some powder in it.
Actually,
You
you
put
know,
the smoothie
I
in,
think I
you know,
come in on
you wouldn't
Tuesdays
even
thinking,
know
how
that.
to get a
It
bunch
might
of stuff
help,
done.
you know what I mean, you never know.
And then I
You can always
don't.
pray over it.
Yeah.
Right?
Cause I'm busy like trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, well, there's just so much, I mean,
Multiply the
we experience this all the
powder and
time,
see
sounds
what
like you're dealing with it, you're right in the heart of it, is there's so much to do, you can't get to all of it, new stuff comes in every day, so you never get to the old stuff, and
I've got a stack of investigating things I need to look into. I've got the stack of bills over here, why aren't they getting me delivered, they have an address. Then I got the stack over here, I need to make sure where that check is, because it's not on the list. Just, it goes.
yeah, well, hopefully bringing Barbara in will maybe you
Oh.
guys.
She seems very professional.
I would hand it all to her, say, here you go.
I was hoping she was gonna stick around, I have to ask, she worked at Cold Grill up until, I think that whole thing happened, did you hear it? Was she there
Only
when
that she was
happened?
there till it
What
was,
Well, Cold Grill went down in that whole immigration.
took a dive.
It's- I mean,
they were
yeah, they got-
laundering money and
Yeah,
stuff.
it was pretty gnarly stuff.
There's a lot of places like that.
Yeah, but they got raided and it was, Arizona
ICE
news.
came in and took
Yeah.
them out.
And so they went to jail.
That's what the
One
nerve
oh four.
And so point being, I wonder what it was like on her end during that
pages or
whole,
something.
cause she looked like she worked there for 2 years, I'd be curious how that
Yeah.
went.
It would be interesting.
And I'll tell you, this
My mom
last
just sent me a
half
picture
of
of
this
us.
chapter 9.
That was me,
Oh.
that's the last time I seen her.
This half was a
That's
breeze.
sweet.
But this
How old do you think
last
my mom
half,
is?
I'm like, oh, the answers to these questions.
57.
She's almost 80 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I like your beard better in the picture.
Oh, yeah, I know. That was like a couple years, you know?
It's actually trimmed.
You should see him without the beard.
Yeah.
If you go
Why?
back and look at his military pictures,
Oh, yeah, I'm curious what that would look like.
yeah,
Oh, let me see what we got. I'm sure there's something.
he, without the ZZ top
What's
look or
easy
whatever.
to- I know.
So we're going to resume. But if we talk about collections, is that a part of the budget?
Well, I think, don't you have an item on here for collections, the policy for
Huh?
collections?
So it has-
Yes, I do.
that's
Yeah,
what
so
I'm saying.
it would be related to that, it sounds like.
Okay.
That's this section G, the past due accounts.
Okay.
The policies there you're thinking?
So, I think we need to look at the application transfer fee. That would be, if we have a property owner and, he has a new renter, that would be $100 transfer fee, correct? It should be, but I
Well,
don't
I
think
haven't
it's been
experienced
charged.
that. I've only experienced where they took off and didn't pay their bill and then I had to start all over again. So I don't know. I know the new application is $100 with a $100 deposit and $50 certification.
So, I have a question on the certification fee, because I don't think we should be charging that. The certification fee is more for real estate transactions or,
Like of the invoice? Certification of what? Of the read?
I have asked that before and I did not really get, a great answer.
Yeah, cause if that's from a different district's budget, for example?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's
It's
just
on
exists in your
our
ordinance.
budget.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that.
I don't have that. So it's $100 deposit. What else?
$100 deposit, $100, something fee and a certification.
I think the certification fee is not something,
Oh,
Yeah.
100 for the processing their application, the
Right.
$100 deposit and $50 certification. I don't know what the certification.
I think the certification fee is for a titled check or something. I looked it up before and I did not see where that applied to people coming in with a new app. So I think we need to look at that a little closer and consider just removing that. But the transfer fee, and maybe the
Well,
paperwork fee is just a different name for the transfer fee?
Well, for instance, we had one person sold their house, we got the last meter reading, and then I put it into somebody else's, but I believe I charged them the $250 for that one also. So they have $100 deposit, $100 for the application, and then $50 for the certification. And I need to know right away on that certification if we're gonna stop, because we need to talk about it.
Well, you're gonna keep, since it's on the fee schedule, again, you're gonna keep applying that until the district adopts a new fee schedule.
Right.
So all these fee changes that we're talking about, that's proposed, and they'll
Okay.
adopt that in mid to late June.
Okay,
And so until then, whatever the ordinance, the current ordinance says, you'll apply.
okay, so then those things that are on applications right now, will those then revert back in to the person that paid it, or? Is that
So
a-
when the district adopts its new fee
Just so I
schedule,
understand.
it's prospective, so it'll be all future invoices will be subject to
Gotcha.
that new fee schedule.
Okay.
But up until that, you're still working off the
Okay,
And there's a bit of a conflict. Well, let's finish. So, $100 security deposit, when you look at the average bill today, is inconsequential. It's really, a 1 month bill could easily be $100. So I don't think that $100 deposit is enough. And when people leave and they haven't paid their bill in several months, we have a $500, $600, $700 water bill that they just leave with, and $100 deposit is all we have to apply toward that bill. So let's have some discussion on what an appropriate security deposit would be.
I closed out 4 bills today, and they were probably total of all of them was probably about $450, $500 that people just left or died. One person did die, and unfortunately, and I'm sad for that, but he left owing.
But, and we don't get notice that
No,
this
there's no way of
property
knowing.
owner has passed and their
No.
home is going into an estate, or we don't get notices on that. So by the time we find out, we're holding a bill.
It's kind of been a little bit of an issue for me, because I do have to do the research to find out when they passed, and I was able to figure that out. I mean, they don't, nobody plans on that, but I don't think that there's preparation on their part to make sure that their family members pick up the ball when something like that happens, or maybe they just don't have family members. But no, we had another guy that just skipped, and then actually 2 guys that just skipped, and one person who moved, and it covered part of her last payment.
But not, it's,
Not all of it.
yeah, very, very little. So what would a reasonable increase in our deposit be?
What do others,
Pardon?
what do others do? I'm not supposed to speak about it. What do other
What do
districts,
other
any ideas?
companies do? She's asking.
Other districts?
I'm seeing 250 to 500. 250 seems to be an average, but then here again, here's the other dilemma. We have let people get too far behind in bills. The office has not been sending out past due notices per policy.
And they're not getting the $15 late fee either.
And, well, since December, we haven't been charging any penalties or late fees, which is fair.
Okay.
But, so payments are due on or before the 15th, and we've had some change in that when the bills went south with different meter reads.
You can write
So
down
the penalties should be assessed on the 17th, allowing for mail with earlier, after the 15th of the month, an aged accounts report should be printed, which we do, and accounts with balances in the 30-day column will be given notice for payment due or services will be disconnected. That has not been happening. The pink slip includes the payment date, the past due amount, total amount due, the date the service is scheduled to be disconnected. And it says that we can accept partial payments or a payment plan. We're not a bank. We need to stop doing that. First of all, we don't even have a legitimate payment plan form for people to sign. Whoever's sitting at the desk has to make something up, and that's not okay, is it?
That's a business decision, but I don't think it's a good one.
Exactly. We need something that's legal, something that's binding, something that's clear,
Something consistent.
something
Yeah, again,
consistent.
Adopt the policy, apply the policy uniformly.
Yes.
Exactly. And, so, I think that this partial payment thing or payment plan, I'm opposed to that. Discussion?
You gotta pay your bills, so. I don't know.
So let's think about that. Let's think about that and then discuss it. So for those who have not paid a second final disconnect notice, so this is the next month, if they don't pay, we send out a second final disconnect notice. A pink slip is delivered to the premises indicating the past due amount, and that used to be the pink door hanger. And a disconnect charge of $50, that's moot. I don't think we've charged anybody $50 for disconnecting.
I don't know that we've disconnected.
I know a couple of accounts we have, but,
Well, since
It's
I've
been a
been
while,
here.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
so when a meter is shut off for non-payment, the customer still receives a monthly bill showing the total amount due, and they're also charged the base amount monthly. But here's the clincher, after 4 months, do you know how much a water bill can go up? After 4 months of non-payment, management will mail a notice to the property owner and prominently post the property
That's too
stating service is going to be discontinued on a given date, and that the meter will be removed at that time and the account terminated.
I mean,
4
what's some of
months
the-
is far too long.
Well, once it gets to a point, you can put like a lien against it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I mean, you guys should have a policy, put a lien
It's
on
under
the
limit,
property.
put a lien on it, and then we get it back like that. Then you get it back legally, and you're not chasing people.
You can still do the disconnect
you can
every
still
4
do it.
months, but again, I think
I don't
No.
think, disconnect after 4 months of non-payment is far too much. By
Too-
then, the bill is
Yeah.
to an amount that they can't afford to pay.
well, and again, so the Arizona Administrative Code, and we can look into that a little bit more if you'd like, but it does speak to, there are certain requirements before you can go ahead and disconnect. And so there are some timeframes in there.
Specifically
called?
water in
Yeah, yeah.
Arizona.
And sanitary, but the Arizona Administrative Code, the AAC, there's some provisions that are very specific to this exact question of
That's-
how you can disconnect and when.
Okay,
And
so
I would
here's,
recommend making sure the policy complies, and then
Thank you, man.
again, just whatever policy you are considering.
Very good.
this
Yeah,
is a
'cause
little,
Up in Cordes, if you were behind 1 month and your new bill comes out, they will cut you off.
exactly.
They are harsh.
4 months is not. Other districts do not allow a 4-month time frame before they shut off the
No,
water.
2 months. Not even 2 months.
Exactly.
I think this is for you.
Did you? I didn't get one. You didn't get one?
No, it's okay.
Well, then you take it. Here,
Well, I'm sure I can see it later if I
Oh,
want
you,
to.
Here.
you look at this,
Don't
me
be
and her
silly.
right next to each other.
You share.
So if you look on
Mom,
that,
it's good.
this
Ah.
last handout, there are no page numbers.
Sorry.
So, but on the 3rd page, it says, account type, tenant rental account, $250 to $400. And then owner occupied existing home, $150 to $300, but that would be different for a new build. Vacant property, high risk, they increase the deposit. Account with prior delinquency or shut off, 500. And here it says, for the district, a balanced and defensible policy could be a standard residential of 300, rental tenant account 400. But I think the reconnect should be higher at 1.5 to 2 times the average water bill for the last 6 months. So if they fail to pay the bill again, there's adequate funds to collect.
And what is, I'm sorry, what was the average?
1.5 to 2.
No, but what is the average? I'm trying to do the math.
Well, you would have to look at someone's bill and average it out for 6
Okay.
months
I
to
think that's like
determine
as a
what they should
whole,
pay
as an average.
as a deposit to have their water turned back
Okay.
on after it's been turned off for non-payment.
Yeah, I had to have a big argument with an owner of a rental because his guy walked off with $369 owing, and he didn't feel he should have to pay the bill. But it's the property, it's not the tenant, and I don't know how to make, other than telling him, well, you know, I guess we just charge your next tenant $500 deposit to keep that from happening again, or we can put the water in your name, or, oh, no, we don't wanna do that. Of course you don't wanna do
actually,
that.
If a tenant leaves and they have failed to pay the bill, we can remove the meter for failure to pay for non-payment.
Right, I believe that's correct, because again, it runs with the property.
Exactly.
So,
So that means whoever comes back to rent the property, or the property owner, would have to pay that $3,500 to
Yes.
have the meter installed again.
And I did suggest that to him also.
There was a home that was sold, the person died, we never got anything
Nothing.
from the probate court, and I tried to call and trying to file something against the deceased estate is too much for me. It's a lot.
did you check Arizona case lookup? You can just look up by name to see if there's an ongoing case. It's a free.
I have
free
notes,
portal.
like, yes, I did, and then it directs you to call the county. And so then I called the county and I spoke to a person in the probate department, and there's this form, and because we're a special district, we probably wouldn't have to pay to fill it out and send it to them. But if you're not, like, if you don't have some special certification or whatever, there is a fee. It's just, it was way too much, right now. Maybe somebody can take the time to figure it out, but that was a lot. So the person coming in to set up new service, the person who bought the home, we now have, they now have to pay a $3,500 reconnect fee to have the service reconnected, a meter put in, because the meter was removed for non-payment. Yeah, it's a bit much. And and it's not being applied as consistently.
Some people are sneaky too, they came in and they set up their account, they bought a house, they didn't say the water, it just rolled over, and then the lady called me the next day and said she was closing her account. Because, so they did it one before the other instead of the other way around. I didn't even think about it, I just let it go through, and then Elaine's like, no, you gotta pay for that, oh, well.
And the other thing is, you have these landlords, and a tenant moves in, and they pay a deposit, then a tenant leaves not paying the bill, and then the landlord gets another customer, and the property owner thinks that we should just write off the bill. And based on what I have found, we do not ask for, when someone fills out a new application, we don't ask for the property owner's name, email, phone number. We don't ask for any information. If somebody dies, somebody comes in and says, this person died and I bought the house. Nobody asks for a death certificate, and that has stopped. We are now asking for a death certificate. Show me a rental agreement. Show me
I need a copy of the lease before I'll do a rental now, and, if you have a death and you say, shut off the water, whatever, well, give me the death certificate, so we can prove that.
and
So
other.
that should be in part of the policies also.
Exactly, all other districts do that. So what happens then, if a tenant leaves, and when we explain this to the property owner, the tenant left, we told them, we can remove the meter for non-payment, because the guy left, didn't pay his bill, so we can remove it for non-payment. Then you would be required to pay $3,500 to have a new meter put in and service reinstated. So we need to have the property owner's information. The property owner needs to be aware that they will be held accountable for the bill, or.
Right.
And, it was explained to the property owner that if he didn't feel comfortable with this, he could pay the bill and charge the tenant for the water. And that way, we wouldn't have to worry about the tenant leaving and owing us money.
Right.
And that was an acceptable solution to him, right?
Yeah.
So, we are losing way too much revenue in these little areas, and it seems like it's maybe an insignificant amount, but if you add up each circumstance and each event, it is a lot of money that we're not getting.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
You
Yeah.
can, you can
Exactly
buy.
right.
So, this is a lot.
Yeah, so I think we're on, just to kind of reorient, since we bounced to the policy, I think that was G, our administrative policies and procedures. So, I think again, to reorient us, maybe let's get the budget tentatively approved.
Okay.
That's the biggest item today. Then we'll do executive session and tax lien settlement. I think those are the two big ticket items. So, if we can go back to the budget, do you have any further discussion on, I know you were talking about potential.
No, but
rate
we need to have
increases.
these numbers, we need to look at these and be prepared to discuss our recommendations for these increases when.
Well, again, so at the hearing is when you're gonna pitch
But
these
when?
rate increases.
How many weeks?
Well, that's the 20 to 30 days out of the hearing you publish, same as for the budget. So again, the same day we have our budget hearing, you're
But
gonna have your.
when? Tell us from here, how many weeks do we
Oh,
have until
no,
we?
again, mid to late June, whenever you have your special meeting or your regular meeting in June.
So do we need to continue this conversation and continue addressing these things, these areas where we can make changes so that we're ready?
Well, ideally today we need a tentative approval, because again,
I
that's
get
step
that,
one in the budget.
But I'm
process.
saying, for what we have discussed today, we should probably continue having these conversations. Well,
And we still can, but
Correct.
today we have to come up with.
I
a
get
plan.
that.
Okay.
I just want the affirmation that yes, we'll
Yes.
continue
Of course
discussing.
we'll keep on
Yeah,
talking
before
about it.
adoption, you can make changes at the hearing. Let's say you're very persuaded by public comment and you don't wanna raise the fees at all, for example. You
I
can
just
make
want
that
people to
decision.
look at these things very carefully and be thinking about the next steps that we need to take to rectify all of these areas that we're losing money in, okay? So, as it relates to the budget, I would like to entertain a motion to tentatively approve.
And
Which,
again,
is this going to be the,
Yeah, 'cause this is a summary of this is gonna get posted and published, so which.
without the increase?
Without the increase.
Or with the increase, because this increase was not, we decided to lower the increase from the 2C to,
This one here.
Right, so for example, if you were wanting to tentatively approve the budget with the fee increase subject to that modification, you could do that. Because again, keep in mind, these are proposed rate increases.
okay,
That's why they show up on the budget, that's what
Right.
brought you back in the black, but they are not final. You're gonna adopt the fee schedule later.
Yeah,
But
okay.
for purposes of tentative approval, they show up on the tentatively approved budget.
okay, so, do we want to, hi Carol,
Oh, thanks.
do we want to, approve the one with the increase or without?
With the increase. Well, with this modification.
Right, so
I
again,
was saying.
when Madam Chair is ready to entertain a motion, the motion she'll be looking for is a motion to tentatively approve the budget, I guess reflecting the proposed rate increase, subject to the modification proposed by Shawn,
Yes.
something to that effect.
Okay,
And if you
well,
wanted to say so moved at any point, you could say that.
so move,
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion.
okay,
For the budget with increase with my modification.
Right, and again, proposed rate
Proposed
increase, yep.
modification.
okay. Any discussion?
That's with this modification, so it's less, so it's not so crazy, cause I wanna be able to not shock everybody.
And so how that's gonna work just procedurally, I guess let's get a second first, then we'll get to discussion, so.
Okay.
I'll second it. All in, any discussion?
Yeah, so
Discussion.
discussion, again, so, you know, we'll also include some authority in a separate motion for Elaine to go ahead and work with legal counsel to publish, post, et cetera.
Okay,
But it'll also be to coordinate with MAC, with Natalie, to prepare, you know, the budget with this modification.
okay, that's
So
fine.
there will be a new version that's circulated, that's the version that's gonna get posted and published around the community and on.
But what about all of the other increases and changes to the, fees? And,
Right, so again, if you wanted to make additional proposed changes to the fee schedule beyond just the two that are highlighted in Shawn's email,
Mhm.
that would be wrapped into the subject too, but you would need to make notes of that for yourself, you know, whatever fees you changed or proposed changes to.
it doesn't
at
have to
this
go in the
meeting.
budget?
Right, because again, you know, I guess, where do those fees show up on your budget? Are they
So
just
let's look at the fees, because we have not done that. Connection fees, it shows, approved $750, that is not enough. If you're looking at with rate increase,
So yeah, I have the with rate increase ending in 60,000 in the black. I'm on the revenues column, and so yes. So again, if let's say you were to increase application fees, just as an example, you were going to propose an increase to that. Right now, the proposed budget there is 0 on this far right column,
right,
and so if you tentatively approved it subject to that modification, when you know, whatever we post or publish would show a number there. Instead of a 0, it would be Natalie and your estimate of what that would be
but we don't know, that has not been decided.
in terms of what?
Application fees.
Pardon?
I'm talking.
In terms of which fees are going to be changed?
Yes,
Right, and so again, if you are not prepared to tentatively approve it because you want to have more discussion, again, we're getting real close to the deadline, but you could probably, you know, schedule a special meeting within the next week or two and
well, we can't approve this because that's absolutely, inadequate, 750.
Okay.
I would say again, if there are if a lot of this is gonna change, yeah, it doesn't sound like we're ready to tentatively.
Water
approve.
maintenance fees, $1,200?
Yeah, again, so if all of that's gonna change to the point where this isn't even really a tentative budget, then yes, I would say let's not do it, but again, guys,
But we have to get on it.
rapidly, on your horse, yep.
We
July
haven't even
10th is
talked,
your
we didn't
deadline.
even discuss if we wanted to increase, the capital improvement fund, and there were recommendations on that, and I think that's worthy of consideration,
Sure.
and
Again,
not just the
yeah.
rate.
Yeah, I think again, if 1 or 2 changes, again, remember at the last hearing, there were some changes we made, but just 1 or 2, 3 changes. If almost every line here is gonna change, yeah, it doesn't sound like you're ready to tentatively approve this.
I'm not even sure what the connection fee amount, where that would come from.
Well, you know, new
Isn't that
connections,
the
right?
3,500
Well,
dollars you're talking
750,
about?
that's just a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
so
I assume, go ahead, Alicia.
I just was gonna ask you, if you don't do a tentative approval on this right now, what is the drop dead date to do that tentative approval so that they
So-
know when, between now and then, they have to get together again
Right.
and nail
So-
this out?
So again, not more than 30 or less than 20 days is the publication, has to publish 2 times within that period. And so again, we're looking at 3 to 4 weeks, you know, from now, from tentative approval
Oh.
to your hearing. July 10th is your drop dead date. So again, if you wanted to, again, I don't even want to suggest pushing it to the absolute maximum, but I think if you can have a meeting in May where you tentatively approve this, that puts us on pace for, again, 30 days out. End of June, we're having our hearing to formally approve the fee schedule and the budget. We're within our range, and we got some cushion on the back end, you know, again, 10 days or so to deal with any emergencies and get it off to the county.
I think people need to take some of this information and look at it. And I think we need to get numbers from Natalie. If we increase, by how much was yours, $12?
14.
14, and we increase capital improvement funds, we increase the deposits, we increase these other things, that's going to change
Yeah, I
this.
think, based on the conversation I'm hearing, it sounds like this isn't a tentative budget, it's not ready to be approved.
It's not,
And
because
so-
we're leaving a lot of things out that
Yeah.
have not been discussed
So,
before.
so I would recommend, again, we sort of, well, we already got a second, we're in the discussion phase, so my recommendation would be vote this down, because it
Okay,
doesn't
yeah.
sound like it's ready. And then you'll just,
Can I withdraw mine?
no, cause we already got a second, so we have
Okay.
to deal with the motion on the floor. But again, subsequent to that, I suppose there could be additional discussion, or again, it sounds like you need to get with Natalie, and, if some of those fees sound low, I don't know what she was, I know she has her fee schedule, I'm sure, but I don't know what she was.
Because I know the last time we did a budget, it was our first budget, we were ill prepared because we were new. And now we've had this time to look at the reality of what's going on, where we're falling short in our fees, et cetera. And so we're making a more knowledgeable, decision, we're making more knowledgeable choices.
Right, and again, if fees are gonna change here, and again, like I mentioned, just almost each one of these line items are gonna change, and it's impossible to tentatively approve it subject to those modifications, cause it's impossible to track, Natalie's
Okay.
not here, for example.
So, we'll have to do, all in favor, say aye. This is approving the tentative, all opposed?
Opposed.
Okay.
So motion fails, no tentative approval.
So we have some work to do, and I think, weren't you, Shawn, going to,
I have some more numbers, but now I'm rethinking some of them. Let me redo my stuff.
okay,
Yeah,
Because,
let's plan to, when we have this end of May meeting, let's have everyone
What?
show up with a sort
With
of
what?
quote unquote final budget.
okay,
So all the decisions about fee
Take on the
changes,
world.
make them before
and
then.
then you're all
Then we
ready.
show up,
Say, here you
ready to
go,
approve.
Barbara, bye.
Sorry,
Cause,
private
'cause
conversation.
if we show up at the May meeting and the same thing happens,
I don't want
it's
to.
probably too late,
Yeah.
where you're gonna be late. And so again, I was just mentioning to Shawn, when we show up at this later in May meeting to tentatively approve the budget, make sure we've hashed out all of that sort of stuff. So what we have there at that meeting is pretty much what's gonna be approved.
So we need to get on the ball and look at this stuff, and then have a conversation with Natalie.
I would be happy to be the focal email, send me the email of what your money is, your dollar amount is, I'll plug it in. I'll put this in a spreadsheet, we'll have it down to the penny as much
Okay.
as possible.
But we need to look at all of these areas that we're lacking in, and we need to
Posted.
increase these fees, we need to reduce the time on our, shutting the water off. You check that, because,
Do you want us to look into that? I saw, Alicia made a note. Do you want us to look into the Arizona Administrative Code disconnect stuff?
yes, because Alicia's too busy. She's, you can't,
You gotta do that job.
One day I will not be doing billing and I can do these things. One day. I will have to train.
we need
people.
to reduce the amount of time we have to turn off water, for non-payment. We need to increase the deposit we have for those accounts that, aren't paying, once it's been turned back on. We need to look at all of these things, because, again, it's the little things that are adding up to a lot of revenue that we're losing. Okay, so, so the other thing we had was, when we voted to promote Alicia, which she deserved it, and we need to be kind to our staff, because the owner users are not being very gentle. And,
You're so funny.
you would have to pay me more to come in and deal with all of the nonsense that's going on. So what we didn't do was decide when, her pay would go up that $1 per hour with promotion. And I had on the calendar, I believe it was May 16th was the start of the new pay date after that meeting. May 16th would have been a Friday. Anybody have a calendar?
It's
It's
the
the
19th
19th today, so the
Yeah.
15th.
So my
was
next
Friday.
payday is on Tuesday. I'll get paid again. I turn in my paycheck again on Friday, this Friday.
But when we had a meeting and the
It was last
payday
month.
would have been starting on the 16th or the 19th.
Friday was the 15th.
The 15th,
Last Friday was the 15th.
the Friday,
Before that was the 8th.
when does your pay period start and end?
It's every 2 weeks and I get my Friday, this coming Friday is when I turn in my paycheck to end this one. So 2 weeks from this
So-
Friday.
This Friday, 2 weeks back, what was the date?
The 8th.
The 8th.
So this Friday's the 22nd. 2 weeks before that would have been the 8th.
So it should have started on the 8th.
Well, when was the meeting that Bill came to? What day was that?
I'd have to look on my calendar. Can we just make a motion that we will start the, $1 increase on the payday that following the last
Following
meeting?
that meeting, yeah,
Okay.
whenever it was approved, yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to increase Alicia's pay to the $25 per hour, beginning the onset of
I would do that, John.
the
One second.
pay period following, the meeting where it was approved. In a second? All in favor? Aye.
She said I first.
Melina?
She said it.
Okay. Passes unanimously. Okay, so that's done. So, discussion and possible action regarding transition billing services to a third-party provider. I called, and I'm very grateful I did, looking for references for utility billing services, and I got 2, and they were not very good. And I think, then I asked, because one of the things I heard was, it's a nightmare with work orders. So I sent an email and asked, if they take control of the work orders, issuing them, closing them out, etc. And the answer to that was yes. So we would lose any input or control over the work orders for the district if we went with them. And for me, that's a deal breaker. How do you feel?
I'll have to look at more of the different parts of it, see what else they bring to the table.
I'm sorry, what?
I wanna see what else they bring to the table, or I want all the cons and pros, that's just one, I mean, that thing, I don't like that if we can't have inputs into the,
No. We would have no say about anything regarding the work orders. The overall, what I was told was stay away, and when they went through the issues, and it was 2, when they went through the issues with billing that they had, it's the same issues we're having right now. So it doesn't sound like we would be advancing.
could you walk me through if we had them, what would the process be? A work order, customer calls in, says, hey, I have an issue, like, where, from A to B, how does it go for them, compared to where we would have it without them?
They control everything. We have no input at all. If a customer called, or came to the office or called the emergency number and said, I need, this work to be done, and it required a work order, we would have to contact them. And if they decided that that was not a legitimate reason for a work order, they could say no, and that would be the end of it.
Okay.
So,
Well, what's our priority is not their priority either.
right.
Okay.
And we've already had a few of those where I've had to say, Mark, can you bump this one ahead because it's really important we get this one addressed.
Okay, well then, yeah, obviously, I would think that would not be our best route.
It would be,
Have you tried to negotiate that at all? I mean, I don't.
I haven't,
know.
based on the other things that I heard, and again, from 2 people, I was not impressed enough. In fact, it raised enough red flags that I said, wow, this really, we need to rethink this. I did find, there's another utility billing system I can call to see if they do any better, but when the whole work order thing, the district, that's an important function of the district. That gives Mark permission to go out and do things that need to be done to make repairs or whatever, and having to rely on them to approve it is not okay. I can't even believe that they want to take control of work orders. Why?
Yeah, no, that does seem odd to me. I don't know.
Well,
I'll forward you the email.
in addition to that, I'm a tracker. I wanna know what we spent to fix XYZ. and I wanna know to the penny, and I wanna know what the shipping was, I wanna know what the part was, I wanna know what the warranty is. I mean, there's a lot of to-its to that I would be pulling in, so I'm kinda like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you gonna give us all that,
Yeah,
plus your
I guess,
billing?
again, I'm thinking just contract perspective, so that's where I'm coming from, but just again, I would think a lot of that is negotiable. But again, it's up to you guys, if you've heard other things that make you uncomfortable with them, then so be it. But I would think something like that, like we could put that in a contract that, yeah, they have to give you all that information.
Yeah, I heard the conversation, one of them yesterday, I wouldn't,
She was listening as I was calling.
I wasn't trying to.
Well, you can't help but, and it was perfectly
She
okay.
speaks pretty,
And this
high
guy's
level.
not happy about it, more so the billing errors. We already have that, we don't need that.
Okay, well, I guess we'll move on from that, cause that was long.
I think we can keep looking.
Yes,
I
of
just think
course.
we ruled them out. However, I'm also optimistic. If we have someone at that desk with a degree in accounting and finance and they know what they're doing, we might be able to eliminate our own billing issues. We have never had that before.
Right.
We've had people behind that desk that had no idea the difference between, it's just not qualified.
Right.
So
Certain of it.
I'm gonna keep looking. I looked up, another company, but the feedback I got from the one that we were considering was just such that if we were to make a bad choice and go to a situation where the billing was worse than what it is now or more problematic, that would be far too much to ask the owner users to tolerate.
Okay.
So, we'll keep looking for that, and who knows, Barbara might be able to do something miraculous. So I'd like to entertain a motion to go into an executive session.
Okay, I'd second that.
And just to quote that
it-
language. yeah.
To
Pursuant
discuss,
So legal advice pursuant to.
Let me turn that off.
discussion and possible action regarding the tax lien settlement agreement proposal and authorization of the board chair to take any further actions necessary to settle the same.
Pursuant to those two statutes, A3 and A4.
Good.
Yeah,